Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekend Rental episode 24, the Gaming and Geek Culture podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm joined, as always, by Andy.
Hey.
And Justin.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so as always, if you are new to the podcast, you can find all things Weekend Rental at weekendpodcast.com. Reach out to us at Weekend Rental PC on Twitter and shoot us an email. Questions, concerns, comments, nude photos. At Weekend Rental, it's weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. The nude photos, put attention, Justin, please. He likes those. So as always, we're going to kick things off with our opening segment, Buy, Rent, Burn. This is a segment of the podcast where we each pick a game for a given system, and individually we'll play those games and decide whether we would buy, rent, or burn the game. Andy's pick this time out, we are looking at the Game Boy, the original Game Boy. He has gone with Primal Rage. Justin has selected Small Soldiers, and I've gone with Super RC Pro-Am. So let's go back through the list, and we'll hear a little bit about everybody's game and give our opinions. We'll start off with Andy's Primal Rage. So the description on this game: select one of 7 ferocious dinosaurs, then pound your opponent into submission as you battle for Earth domination. Blizzard's Freeze Breath and Ice Geyser fighting moves stop you cold just before his Mega Punch hammers you senseless. Diablo's Inferno Flash cooks up Firestorm in one dino barbecuing breath, and the foul, disgusting Chaos dazes you with an abundant supply of Power Puke, Farts of Fury, and Flying Butt Slams. There's more, but do we really... This is so bad.
Oh, yeah. I kind of picked this game because I just thought it's hilarious that... I mean, pretty much Primal Rage came out on everything possible at that time. I mean,
yeah.
If there's a system, it came out on it. Actually, I don't know if it came out in the game.com, but surprisingly.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I also like how they lie right off the get-go in the description about 7 ferocious dinosaurs when 2 of them are primates. What the hell? Yeah. How do you get that wrong?
Yeah, and I feel like there wasn't 7 in this game either. I think there was it 6 or 8? I don't remember. I want to say
you're right. It's not 7,
at least in the Game Boy version. Yeah. But yeah, between that and like that time in like the Game Boy's life, everybody was porting over like the big fighting games, right? Like,
yeah,
Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. They all came over to Game Boy, and they were all pretty bad. Obviously, because it's like you have 2 buttons on a Game Boy. Like, how can you make a realistic fighting game out of that? But
yeah,
I think this one definitely probably takes the cake for the worst one. It's pretty awful. Like, Primal Rage already is kind of well known for not being top of its class as far as fighting games, and this is not a good port of it.
Yeah, it was like Primal Rage felt like the perfect marketing pitch. They're like, hey, people really like these like CG like rendered sprites plus blood plus what do kids like? Dinosaurs. Yeah, that's right, Bob. Kids like dinosaurs. Let's put this like this is a perfect idea. And like everybody bought it up. Like I agree with you, it's a shitty fighting game, but like I totally fell for it as a kid. And so did all my friends. Like we all loved this game.
Yeah, the arcade cabinet looked awesome, didn't it? Compared to like the other ones. That was a big deal, but
I don't know if I've ever played this one prior to now. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'd seen it and stuff, but I don't think I ever played it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I liked it as a kid because it was basically, I mean, it's just a button masher, right? Like, there's really no skills to this game. There's just no depth. I think that's kind of why I enjoyed it, because I was never good at, like, the Mortal Kombats or Street Fighters, so... For me, I'd throw in the Super Nintendo card. I never played this version, and I had a good time with it, but this is such a watered-down version of even that it's pretty rough. It runs really well, though, on the Game Boy. Like, frame rate is excellent. The characters look surprisingly detailed for, like, a 2-color screen.
It's kind of weird. They kept the rotoscope, like, kind of graphics in there, so like the sprites have like lighting to them, almost like dark spots depending on where they're moving. It's really weird. It's something you don't see too often in a Game Boy game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a technical masterpiece. It's just awful to play. Like, it looks cool, but that was kind of where that ended for me.
Yep.
Plus, I don't like that you start out fighting yourself. Why is the opening match you versus you?
Is that always the case?
Cool. I mean, I tried 3 opponents before I shut this thing off.
Okay.
Or 3 characters, and it was always the case, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I just did the first one, I think. The top left. And I ended up fighting myself right away, and then Diablo. And Diablo kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Plus, like, I always thought, like, the best version, or the best part of, like, the other versions of this game is, like, all the worshippers. Because you gain strength by, like, how good you were doing, and, like, human worshippers would, like, come out and, like, you could squish them on the course, or, like, smash them and eat them. But, like, they're not, obviously, in the game.
In this one, yeah.
I mean, it would be, what, like, 4 sprites? Or 4 pixels? I mean, it's like, what's this twig doing? Worshipping you, can't you tell?
Yeah. And I'm not, like, way into the fighting game stuff, but I feel like this one was kind of well known for not being very well balanced, right? Like,
right.
I don't remember which characters it are, but I would imagine it's probably the dinosaurs with like the long tail that they can just whip, you know, the reach on them, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he was in this version because I didn't play all the characters, but there's the one in the other versions where he had like the super long neck and he could spit. And like that guy, you could just spam his attack all day long in the other versions.
Yeah.
Guy I played with, by the way. It's the only way I could win. But, I mean, at least you're on your way to collecting every version of this game ever, because I know you're a super fan, Andy.
Yeah.
I think, like, a little fun fact for anyone, like, listening in the podcast, I think the first time I met Andy, like, within, like, the first couple times I ever spoke with you, you immediately, like, shared your disdain for Primal Rage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Andy. I hate Primal Rage.
If there's been, like, 3 things that defines me, that's got to be up there.
Avid Sonic fan, hater of Primal Rage. I'll figure out the third one day. So let's move on to Justin's pick. Small Soldiers. This is obviously a movie tie-in game. It was a kid's movie back in the day. So the description on this one, you're in an epic battle against the Commando Elite. You must assume the role of Archer, leader of the peaceful Gorgonites, forced into a situation that Gorgonites are programmed to lose, namely war. Archer must unite his friends to take on the Commando Elite. Do you have what it takes to guide Archer through this massive Small Soldiers adventure? Do you?
Yeah, I don't know. I picked the game not really knowing what it was. I figured it was based off of a movie or TV show. I don't know. I suppose it's kind of a side-scrolling platform type game, I suppose.
I think that's accurate, yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't find an attack button.
I was just going to say, the guy's called Archer. And he carries a bow. I didn't shoot anything.
Nope. No bow.
What the fuck?
Like, I tried for the longest time. Yeah. And like you'd go to jump and it looks like you're gonna like charge up a shot and then you just do like a terrible jump instead.
Right.
Like it's deceiving.
Animated at like 3 frames per minute. It's the worst.
Like, I guess I finished the first couple levels, I suppose. I think it was 2 levels. And then I finally gave up. It was tough to get on ledges to actually climb up. I don't know, it was just really hard to play.
Yeah, the level design was convoluted. The fact that you're a protagonist with a weapon who can't defend himself. So you're literally, it's an avoiding maze game with like horrible jumping. The only thing I think that I can credit to this thing is that it offered Super Game Boy support, which is cool, but some colored CG sequences don't make up for what I suffered through. Like, that was bad. And
why?
You know what sucks is, like, I don't know if you guys have played any other Small Soldiers games, but there are some legitimately like good ones. There's like a tactics one on the PC that's decent. There's one on the PS1 that isn't all that awful. I don't know what the hell this was, but man, did it suck.
I don't think I'd played any other ones.
Yeah, I haven't heard the other ones either. I just assume they're bad because they're licensed movie stuff, but
they're all way better than this, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah. That is, like, I could not believe that. Like, I felt like I had to have been missing something. He's carrying a bow. He's like pointing it fully. It's like the worst thing I've ever seen.
He's fucking named Archer.
Yeah.
He's named Archer.
And like like he's got to sit and squat and take a dump before he actually jumps. Like
that's how you get more height out of it.
I guess you really gotta go for it. And yeah, like if you start running and like then you hit the jump button, it's like, oh, let's wait like 2 seconds before I actually jump.
Yes, you run off ledges. Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
And then you're doing all this shitty, cumbersome platforming against guys who have like fucking bazookas and machine guns. Like, how is that fair?
Yeah. Come on, boys. I'm just trying to get through these shelves.
Like, could you maybe do a single shot gun? Like, is it really necessary to have a fully automatic?
At least they give you plenty of health.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, I'll say, kind of like Primal Rage, this is a graphically and visually appealing game on the Game Boy. Obviously, this would be a later release too, given when this movie came out, but just because something looks good doesn't mean it's worth picking up and playing. That is absolutely the case here. Plus, it has the double whammy of being a licensed game, so not great.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an awful game.
All right, so let's get on to our final pick here. My pick, Super RC Pro-Am. Description, grab your Game Boy and pull up to the starting line. It's you against 3 other speedsters in this thrilling competition. Fast, hazardous hairpin turns, skidding oil slicks, and other dangerous obstacles. Race your way through dozens of treacherous track levels that will put you and your driving ability to the ultimate test. I'll just cut it off there because this is like super long and there's like twice as much to read. But basically,
you drive carts.
Yeah, I mean, if you played RC Pro-Am, a classic NES game, Super RC Pro-Am also came out on the Sega Genesis. Isn't that the title? I believe. I don't know if these came out around the same time. This is a Game Boy version of that. It's a Rare game, or at least the NES one was made by Rare, the company. Not hard to find. It's basically RC cars, top-down racer. As you progress, you realize there's like some car combat mechanics with weapons you can pick up to take out enemies. Also upgrade your car. You can unlock tiles to spell out Nintendo to get bonuses to upgrade your car. There's oil slicks and other hazards. It's a fun racing game. I think if you compare this to the NES version that I think most people are familiar with, it kind of captures that. I would say it runs about at half the speed, which kind of changes the gameplay almost in the player's favor, in that it's easier to take out opponents and block them. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I thought it was a lot easier than the old ones. And the old ones are somewhat easy.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a lot easier on the Game Boy when it runs at half speed like that. I think the other impressive thing that obviously we didn't do here, but I always remember this being like one of the first things with the link cable, right? And multiplayer.
Oh, really?
I think you can play 4-player on this game, possibly.
Is it this, or are you thinking F1 Race?
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I know
I'd
it was
never
a racing
tried
game.
this. Yeah. Could be.
We're going to do some live fact checking.
Facts. So yeah, I mean, I think
you can play up to 4 with the link cable.
Okay,
yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. This was like such a recognizable game back in the day. That I think it was a lot. It was kind of one of those games that was like a must pick up for a lot of Game Boy owners, especially early adopters. I knew several people who had this one. This is one I never owned as a kid, but I certainly, did the old thing of like trading a game away for a week or so and playing this. And yeah, it kind of captures the same fun that you'd have with RC Pro-Am, and it does it without, I think, sacrificing the visuals or the handling. It just makes it a little bit of a slower paced game, which, it works. It works for the Game Boy. I mean, especially because like I don't know if everybody did, but I emulated it. Even though I own the cart, I could have just played it. But the Game Boy having such kind of horrendous screen blur, I'd imagine the lower pace probably helped with that. I think it would have been kind of an incomprehensible mess otherwise. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think if you did the 4-player link, that would be kind of interesting though to play it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't know, I don't remember the sound effects in prior games that I played, because I'm pretty sure I played the one for NES. But the turning, like, I couldn't handle that sound effects.
Yeah. No, it's pretty annoying in the NES too.
Was it?
Yeah.
No,
I don't remember that. I'm sure it's there.
It's not as obvious. No, I agree. It's bad.
Like, the only thing I could think of was driving in the car and having my kids play it in the back seat. Like, I'm pretty sure I'd throw it out the window.
Yeah. For me, it's just the sound it made was just as bad as my kids doing whatever the hell they do on a daily basis.
It all sounds the same, right?
Yeah, right. Incomprehensible screeching.
I'd rather hear the crying from me throwing it out the window.
Oh boy.
You monster.
I think that's a lower tier than burning that game. Throwing it out the window. I guess what I really do appreciate about this game is that, like, a race is like 1 minute long.
Yes.
Like, it is.
Yeah.
It's like, do a race, you get a part to upgrade. It's, like constant progression. It's really cool.
So suck on that, Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah.
You bastard. All right. Should we go back through the list? We'll go back up to the top. Andy, you want to give us your picks on what your buy, rent, and burn would be this episode?
Yeah. My buy is going to be Super RC Pro-Am just because by default, almost.
Kinda.
Like, I don't know. The bar is really low on the other two, so it could be pretty much anything and that they would be buying from me this week. But it turns out it's a pretty good game, especially for the Game Boy. I think it fits that platform really well. And I didn't have it when I was younger, but it would have been totally a game that I was super into. So that would have been that's my buy for sure. My rent is going to be Primal Rage, because although it doesn't play great on the Game Boy, it's not a good fit for the Game Boy. It did okay as far as graphics, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's watered down. Like, there's not much you can do with games like that. But
plus, it had background music, which another game does not.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and for my burn, I was telling you that third thing that you don't know about me. It's that I really fucking hate small soldiers. Actually, I don't have any experience with the actual movie or the franchise that it was based off of. I somehow totally missed that as a kid. Seems like
it would amazing movie time. It's gonna have to happen now.
I guess, yeah. It seems like that would have been right at my, 10 years, or I suppose maybe 12, I guess, about the time that you would be into that type of movie. But yeah, I totally missed that. That's okay, I guess. Because looking back at it now, it doesn't look like it has very good CG.
No, it came in at that awkward time, so you didn't miss a whole lot.
Yeah, but yeah, that game is awful, and it's beyond just like a team not doing a good job making a game, because that's forgivable. It's a license thing. You're just making a game for the paycheck, but like, they didn't even think about it. Like, why?
Do you suppose we like missed something and like select was somehow shoot? Did anybody try that?
It's possible, but
I didn't try it.
I tried doing a whole bunch of stuff and I couldn't do it. But
I pretty much spammed the buttons on my controller, and
yeah,
honestly, I did was jumped and then
and the controls sucked. Just like for platforming, it was just everything was delayed. I would rather play Porky's as a platforming game than that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Porky's is a better game than Small Soldiers on the Game Boy.
Yeah, that's saying something, because that's the same type of thing as jumping and climbing, and that's way better back on 1983.
Was it, Ed? pixelated boobies.
Well, yeah, but I guess I didn't get far enough in here. It might have, but I wasn't going to see that.
Somehow I don't think it does, and if they did, you didn't want to see those. Even the Super Game Boy can't fix that. All right, so Justin, how about your picks?
All right, well, my buy is going to be Super RC Pro-Am, just because that's actually a fairly fun game with the volume turned off.
Too bad it wasn't broken on your emulator.
Right? I thought about changing that so it didn't work anymore again. But my rent is actually going to be Small Soldiers. Mainly because I don't understand Primal Rage and the attacks. Like, the only thing I did was Tail Whip. That's the only thing I did.
Yep.
And I don't know. I feel like it wasn't that much fun. But Small Soldiers would be my rent because of that. My burn is going to be Primal Rage. Just because I don't really like that game and understand how to fight in it, because you just reach with your jaw and swing your tail. I should have probably tried other characters, I suppose.
No, that's a game.
It doesn't. You got it. You got the gist. All right, so my buy, obviously, Super RC Pro-Am. It's the only one of these that is a legitimate game, I think, in my opinion. Plus, it's a good one. I like the NES version. This is a solid adaptation to the humble Game Boy. My rent, I am going to go Small Soldiers also. I hate that game. I think everything about it is irritating. It's just that I can play that for about 2 more minutes longer than I can play fucking Primal Rage, which I am torching. Because even though it runs at an amazing frame rate, given the hardware, it looks pretty good, it still is just a complete shit show when it comes to playing and enjoying that game. And, yeah, no, it's real bad. And I love games with farts in them, and that didn't save it for me, so...
I'm honestly a little bit surprised by that. I didn't think I would be sharing a same opinion as you on those last 2 games.
What am I, some kind of monster? Come on.
Well,
no,
yeah.
I just don't like. For one, I've never understood fighting games, and like this is a broken mess of a fighting game to begin with. And I just think like if I'm looking at those 2 games as a kid or myself, like I know I had to put more time into Small Soldiers, even though I hated it. Because you could progress in that game. It was horrible and not rewarding. But, like I could have kept going. I just shut it off because I was like, this is hot trash. And I don't want to do this again. And I can't shoot anybody, even though my name's Archer. In theory, 8-year-old me would have been like, a farting monkey, yes! But no, it's terrible. Primal Rage is just bad.
Yeah, I did play Small Soldiers more than Primal Rage. Because of that fact. But I think that led to... It was more so that because... You're up on a ledge, and then the jump didn't register, so you like fall down, and then you're like, "Well, I gotta climb all the way back up here." So it's just like busy work.
Yeah, had it controlled properly, those levels would have taken like all of 15 seconds.
Yeah,
I agree.
Maybe you are able to shoot an arrow at some point in that game, but we'll never know.
I don't want to find out.
Probably at the very end.
Yeah. He's like, he looks down and he's like, what's this? I can use this? Okay.
Have I been carrying this literally the entire game? This is like, weird. Couldn't he have like stolen a gun from like the countless enemies that he ran past? Like, how did they not even give him like a basic jump attack? Like, basic platforming.
Like quick, like snappy, like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
God,
a weird game.
Can we double burn? Can we double burn this episode? I just want to torch both those games.
Yeah.
So did you guys try like running as fast as you could into a guy to see if it would hit him with the arrow?
Yeah, I tried everything and I died.
Yeah.
Get ready to erupt into primal rage. But be warned, these guys don't just kick butt, they slam it, crush it, and trash it. And now they're even bigger. 4 tasty follower figures take a bite out of their killer appetite. Now even more rage is in your hands with Primal Rage and Super Rage action figures from Playmates.
Because she couldn't care less, fastidious and precise. She's a killer queen, gunfighter, gelatine, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind.
All right, fellas, let's move into the meat of the podcast here. Let's start off with a little bit of a leak on some Switch games that are upcoming. Most people would probably pause and be excited about Fortnite, but the game that caught my attention, I think I shared with you guys almost immediately, was that Killer Queen, the arcade game, is coming to the Switch, in theory, based on this leak, as Killer Queen Black. How excited are we?
I don't own a Switch, but I'm tempted to get one.
So for those of you who are not familiar, Killer Queen is a modern, I guess, arcade game that is massive. This thing has 2 giant, I don't know, what would you say, 40-inch panels on either side of it.
Yeah.
You have 5 people playing per team, I believe it is. And it's all competitive, team against team play. It is... The only way to describe it is just like sheer chaos.
Oh yeah, that's the same word I was going to use.
Yeah, and it you know, depending on if you know somebody or if you're with people who know what's going on, understand the game or not, it's either an exercise in frustration or like the most rewarding arcade experience you've ever had. And I've been on both ends of that, and I've been on the intoxicated end of that, which is also fun. Not as rewarding. But yeah, great game. I'm so pumped. This is like an indie game that has been locked into a platform that has kind of limited mainstream exposure to what I feel is one of the best indie games of the last 5 years. I don't know when it came out, but what a phenomenal game to get ported to the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, the strongest part of it is that you can win 5 different ways. Each team can win multiple different ways, and you, as a team, are trying to pick a way to do that together, but also keep track of all the other 5 people on the other team to try and figure out what they're up to, like which way they're going, you know? So it is amazing in that way that I can't think of too many other games that are quite like that, where the strategy is just like trying to align your tactics to whatever your team is doing.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to do that quietly, because if you're in an arcade cabinet, the people are standing right next to you. The other team can hear what you're doing, you know?
Yep.
So I wonder if this is going to lose some of that impact. I hope it can like keep that. I mean, it doesn't have voice chat on the Switch, so
it doesn't, but it's also a game that I don't know that it necessarily needs it. I mean, every game can benefit from that, right? I think where the possibility for this to really shine is that if you go to a place that has a Killer Queen cabinet, you really need 10 people, right? Like you can't just, if it's you and your buddy, okay, I mean, sure, that's not going to be fun. Where with the Switch, and even though there might not be voice chat, there should hopefully be online and matchmaking. And I think that is going to turn this very competitive game into like a reliably competitive game. I think like you'll see with Killer Queen, like it's weird because it's got a very active community as far as scores and tournaments and like teams and people that get together and drive out and play this at various arcades. So to put it on a platform where you don't need to leave your house to do that, I think is going to be pretty awesome. And who knows, maybe you can do in-room, you know, like LAN or multiplayer parties with several Switches. I would imagine they would have that option, but we'll see.
yeah.
You'd almost have to imagine they're going to have matchmaking and multiplayer. Otherwise, how would this work? Because you're not going to have 10 people over,
right,
with Switches to play that. Like, you would just go to an arcade cabinet.
And I wonder how many. Does anybody know like how many controllers you can sync to the Switch at one time? Is it 4? Is 4 the max?
That I'm not sure of. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you know what'd be really cool is to buy 2 Switches and build your own arcade cabinet for Killer Queen.
Wow, that's a pretty cool idea. Yeah. Huh. That's pretty. Yeah, that would be pretty
that
sweet.
was one of the first things I thought of. Was like, man, I'd like to build something to drop this thing into.
but
also, sadly, I don't have 10 friends.
Yeah, it's just.
Wah, wah, wah.
You have to put an ad on Craigslist.
Please don't murder. I want friend for Killer Queen. Sexual favors, okay. So what else is going on out there?
What was it like?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I wonder if there's gonna be a way for you to coordinate better without voice chat. Then, like, say this is the goal that we're going for, because otherwise you're just kind of like looking around guessing what your team is doing.
You could do quick chat, right? Like, I suppose you could do like so many options on. Given the Switch has got the 2 dual sticks plus the D-pad plus the buttons, it would totally be feasible to map, you know, to those 4 buttons that are like essentially the D-pad. Like, do this, do this, do this, do this. I could see a Rocket League
playing on Discord.
And I think that's what. Realistically, I think the guys who already take this game seriously, I think there will be Discord teams and Discord matches, and I mean, hopefully this is a real game. I'm curious to see what they bring with it, with the black. You know, obviously that means they're adding something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm excited for it. Like, have you guys seen my like weird version of Killer Queen for the NES?
No, you have that right on your one.
Yeah. It was like one of those 8-bit Christmases where it's like a 4-on-4 version of Killer Queen. It's like super dumbed down, but I mean, outside of that, I don't think this has reached anywhere. And it always feels like one of those games that'd be perfect on a home console. And who knows, maybe if this does well on the Switch, which it should, because any indie game does good on the Switch from what I hear for the most part, maybe this will land on PS4, you know?
Yeah. All I know is like if I'm not hearing somebody scream, check the snail. It's just not the same game.
You know, I gotta say, like,
that snail.
When we are playing the and you guys have played with me, so you know that this is my strategy. Is like I'm immediately low hanging fruit. I'm like, I'm fucking riding that snail. Like, I'm getting that thing, and then like 1 out of every 100 times, I get that victory point with that snail. But
yeah,
anyone listening to this is like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Killer like Queen. 3 years ago, it was at MGC.
What's that?
What was it, 3 years ago that it was there?
Yeah, it didn't come back. I wonder if it didn't come back last year because of the weather, though. Because it seems like it should have been there, right? No,
I didn't see it.
And it wasn't there the year before. Sad. All the more reason to go to Up Down. You gotta do it.
Yep. So, I just want to check what year it is. It is 2018, right? Not 1978?
Might be okay. Yeah, I think your logic is sound.
Okay, so why is everybody super excited about an Atari and an Intellivision?
Is everybody really super excited, though? Or is it weirdly making gaming headlines for the fact that they both didn't completely blow up and fail gloriously on impact? Although the Intellivision still could. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Atari's doing very well on their Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, I mean, they've successfully not launched a console that they haven't made yet and probably won't exist.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, I would be all aboard if it was a better value. I like the idea of it.
Yes.
But
what's the idea?
Well, just being able to have an Atari branded box that you could probably hack and do, emulators. You could do the dream of the Ouya all over again, but it's branded as something cool. Has more potential that way, I guess. They do have more partners. You could walk into a building with partnerships and say, "Hey, we're Atari," not.
And then get laughed out.
True. Just some of them would do that, but I think the name still holds some value somewhere. to some people. But I have to wonder, like, if the success is mostly driven by
a collecting market,
collectors who are impulsive on something that's in front of them. Because I say this because I am that person.
You didn't.
I did not do it, but I've been very close to it.
Don't. I'll gut my junior, throw a Raspberry Pi 3 in it, and give it to you. Give me $300.
Yeah, it's not a great pitch. I mean, I guess their Indiegogo pitch, there's more to it than like what they previously said, but it's still, I think a lot of it comes down to, like, if you want the wood grain one, the classic one that everybody would ever want, you got to be in right now, right?
Yeah. I think, like, my thoughts on this is, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I'm going to, is I don't want this to fail. I appreciate Atari. I have a love for Atari. The 2600 was my first console. I am a little taken aback that this not only met its crowdfunding goal, the 100,000 I could see, right? But this crushed it. I don't know if we've talked about that. It crushed it at 2 million within the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
It still does not fully register with me. And I still don't fully believe that this will be created. And really the details they've given on it is like, okay, there will be an online store. Great. We'll get some sort of weird like app store. You're going to give me some bundled Atari ROMs, which they've stated they will do 100 of them. Whoop-de-doo. I can buy a Atari Gold flashback for $100. So what am I paying an additional $200 for? And I think like the thing is like, I can understand people being nostalgic and wanting to back this for the same reason that I bought an NES Classic or Super Nintendo Classic. But those games, those things were priced at a point where I was like, this is moderately worth it to somebody who already has a million other ways to play these games. The Atari Flash or the Atari AVS. Is it AVS? No.
VCS.
AVS is the NES thing. Yeah, the VCS, like, what is the, like you said, what is the value there? Like, what are you getting out of it? Because if they don't deliver on original content, if they don't deliver on multimedia, I guess, but you can stream Netflix on a Roku for $20. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know if anybody needs that.
I don't think, best case scenario, this coming out, you are going to get your money's worth. I think is the bottom line with this. And I think that's kind of what sucks. I don't like condone people for getting excited about it. I'm fully supportive of it getting backed. I am happy to not be one of those people that backed it. I just think at the end of the day, like, even if you get everything you want, it's not going to be worth the money you put into it. And that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, with this campaign, like, yeah, it seems like a lot of money compared to what they were asking for. But when you break that down by 300 a piece, like, it's only 10,000 people, at most. So, like, you can find 10,000 people lay down a good chunk of money on anything that they think is, nostalgic. Like, how many people do you think actually buy those flashbacks every single year?
Right.
There's got to be a good chunk of that. Probably at least 10,000 people that do that. So it's certainly possible that this is just that. It's I don't know. I don't know if everybody's all in on the potential of this thing. It's more it's more the look and feel and, hey, I have this
of
thing.
Cotton.
Yeah. of wood grain.
But the splinters. So then you brought up another good point, was the Intellivision is coming back. It was purchased and is now being led by fucking Tommy Tallarico. The guy is like ridden the coattails of like, oh,
I made some video game music once.
Yeah. Like, he made video game music for like some nostalgic games, some great soundtracks. then proceeded to go through the 90s acting like he was like the biggest badass like rock musician ever.
Yeah.
Then he transitioned that into a shitty G4 show where he was kind of a dick about every game he reviewed. And then he did like a bunch of live shows. What were those called?
Video Games
Like,
Live.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
And now he's like, I'm back, motherfuckers, in television. I know you've all been asking for it, crickets. It's like...
I mean,
What
out of
is
these
there?
three, like, yeah, that's not... The Atari definitely has a better chance of succeeding
Yeah.
and coming out, for sure, I think. Like, I just can't see the... Like, we're talking about the 10,000 people of Atari, like, how many fraction of that is looking for television, you know?
So yeah, Atari arcade presence, classic arcade games, classic home console, Atari 2600, arcade ports, the 5200 flopped, 7800 middling for a while. The Jaguar, I mean, all those they had a presence in the market, right? Is what I'm saying. Over 15 years. What did the Intellivision have? Like there was the Intellivision 2, I think, right? Like there was like an upgraded model or like a revision of the hardware, but
For
the
a short time,
Intellivision
they were the
kind of-
best one, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, they had the best hardware and the best looking games, but still everything they had was a better looking clone version of what you bought in the Atari. I mean, that's their claim to fame. Like, is there... I can't look back at the Intellivision and say, like, yeah, that game for the Intellivision, like, what was the sole game on the Intel... Like, what... I mean, did they have a system exclusive that made it sell? I don't think so, right? They just had better looking versions of things I bought on my Atari.
Yeah.
With a weirder number pad thing.
Yeah, that controller is weird. Like, you have to imagine that is going to be kind of awkward. Because at least, like, the Atari stuff and, like, they have the molds and everything for that. And, like, that controller just looks like a third-party controller for the Atari thing. Whereas, like, the Intellivision, like, are you really going to replicate that thing? You know?
I hope not. You just sync your smartphone to it.
Yeah,
Beep, boop,
yeah,
beep,
there you
beep.
go. That's not a bad idea, actually, just to have your
No.
your phone be the controller. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, but it's I don't know, it's just been off the chart. Like, I'm surprised that people think there's a market for it. There must be. I don't know. Like, you look in, like, the UK, like Europe, like Commodore and
Spectrum,
like, they're all blown up again too, and they're like, half that stuff isn't even licensed, so, like, we'll see if that ever
I think
blows up,
savvy like industry people see the potential of a retro brand and being able to make a buck off of it before the bubble bursts. Because you can say what you want, but like we are arguably at the point with the height of collecting culture, and then the age group of the Atari, the Commodore, and the Intellivision era, that like it's going to take a steep nosedive, not only because the collecting culture will probably burst, but because these people are getting older.
Yeah.
Like literally those generations will be plummeting off. That's hard. It's harsh to say because they're not that old, but you know what I mean? Like they're not going to be into this stuff. So I think it's like, we need to seize this. We need to make some money on it now before it's too late. And I think that's what drives some of this. Because do you mean to tell me that like Tommy Tallarico has like a soft spot for the Intellivision? It's like, man, I got so inspired by those Intellivision soundtracks. I'm like, oh, yep, Tommy drew his inspiration from that, all right.
Yeah, that's an odd choice, I guess.
Yeah. I've just kind of always thought that guy was a douche, and like tying his name to the Intellivision doesn't make me want to buy it.
Yeah.
At least he had the foresight to say, we're not going to come out and compete with the PlayStation 4. That would be silly. Like, no shit, Tommy. Nobody thought you were going to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it... Even on the Atari side, I can't think... Even the smallest percentage of people think that that's a real, legit... Going to go toe-to-toe with the big guys, you know?
Yeah. Well, and just like the timing of the announcement was weird, too, because like they laid out that it was like, what, 2 years out still? I mean, why even really talk about it? I mean, at this point, you have nothing, essentially.
Why don't these guys like grow some balls and actually like make some new vector screens for our, like a Vectrex Mini? You
Dude.
cowards.
Yeah, why can't somebody get behind that? I'd give way more shits about a new Vectrex than I would in Intellivision and Atari.
Yeah. I think there would be a much bigger market there because people would look at that thing and be like, wow, this is crazy,
We sound like the people we've just been like ridiculing now for like the last 20 minutes.
No. I don't know.
Intellivision and Atari, Vectrex, woo! Sign me up!
But at least that's different. Like, that's not something you see anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Vectrex still has like that appeal of it's, if you are a retro game enthusiast and collector, it's like still a hard game system to come by in good working condition. So yeah, you're definitely on point there with, I think there would be a definite following.
Yeah.
Stuff. So we're approaching, as we record this, what is it, June 5th? Am I right? Yep. June 5th.
Yep.
So we're fastly approaching E3 2018. Do we have any predictions on what we expect out of this? Anybody got any things you're looking forward to or hoping that come out of E3?
What's left to predict? It seems like this year they put everything out there already, or it's leaked enough
Walmart
to be.
fucked it up.
Yeah, it's been leaked enough to know for certain.
Yeah. Well, that's the tough part, right? Because like we know we're not getting a new console. We're not getting the Xbox Scorpio 2.5. We're not getting the PlayStation Super Pro. So, I think
Vita 2.
I think I don't rule out Sony. I think I take that back. I don't think they will. I think if they were smart, they'd wait a year. I think this E3 though, even though Nintendo is not doing the traditional E3 presentation like they haven't done, I think this is the year that the Switch just murders the competition with like news and exclusives and like heavy hitters. I think this is, the Switch is on a good path. We know there's the Pokemon's coming that got leaked, and I mean it's gonna be big. And the Fortnite that got leaked for the Switch, which is gonna be huge because Fortnite is huge.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, I just saw a story that Nintendo stock dropped 7%. Like, just took a nosedive, and nobody knows why. There's, like, no real solid news out there to say, like, oh, this is, what caused it. So
they probably presented their lineup to the investors for E3, and it was not great.
Yeah, that's the only assumption is that, the guess is that the expectations of what they're going to show at E3 are not going to go over well. But I mean, at some extent, like, you blew your load on Mario and Zelda. They're gone for a while,
Gross. I mean, Zelda, yeah, but Mario. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some of that. I think, but does it matter? I mean, does it fucking matter? I mean, they can walk out and they can be like, guess what? We're porting the Wonderful 101. We're porting, let me look at some random game on my fucking Wii U. We Fit You. And everyone's going to be like, yes! And they're going to buy 10 million copies of it. So, I don't know. I mean, I think what will make a difference potentially is maybe if they come out and they show that Smash Brothers, because Smash is going to be the centerfold.
Yeah.
Like, right? I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
If they come out and it's just a port of the Wii U version instead of a new Smash, I think that will have some impact. Although I don't think enough. I think people will buy it regardless. I think there's enough Smash fanatics. I think that is a great Smash game that I didn't play enough of because it was on the Wii U. But yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't think they need AAA games to be announced any further than they have for 2018 releases. In my mind, I mean, they've even had EA humbly come back and be like, "Well, yeah, we're gonna make FIFA fucking 2019." Like, oh, really? For the platform that was a complete abysmal failure for you. Even though you gave it a half, you're going to make a second one. Good for you. Like when EA comes crawling back like sheepishly, I mean, I don't know. The Switch is on a good path. I think what would really set it home for them more than anything is maybe not game releases, if they would come out and be like, hey, look, fourth quarter, we're launching this. And by this, I mean a new revision to the interface for the Switch where we will sell you custom backgrounds for your games. We will allow you to add new thumbnails for your user profiles. And we will actually organize our shop in a way that it is genuinely a shop and not just a list of shit that has come out in consecutive order. Yeah. And if they did that, I would slow clap the hell out of them because that's all I really need. Because it is a powerhouse. Like, I don't know. It's such a great system, even though it has some real problems. It's just good for gaming, right? It's just pick up and play. It's gaming. It's on the go. Again, this weekend, like all these use cases that I scoffed at when I had the Switch, I had to go camping with my family, and I was like, Jill, drive. I'm going to play. So I played Switch all the way there. It rained when we were camping. You know what I did? I sat on the couch and I played Switch. Wow. Rain stopped. I put it away. I went fishing with my kids. Rain started up again. I sat down and played Kirby with my kids. Like, I don't know. I think Nintendo doesn't need the heavy hitters to like carry the momentum through to be like to overcome the competition in E3, because what is going to happen from Sony? I don't think they have anything that's going to be bigger than God of War. They're still riding high on that. We know Death Stranding is that Kojima's thing? No.
Yeah.
We know that probably is going to come out on the PlayStation 5, right? Like realistically, does anyone think it's coming out? I don't think it's coming out.
Not for a while. Not next year.
No. And Xbox, I don't even care. Like they're not going to have anything. Yeah, I mean, what's the point? So, yeah, it could be like a weirdly uneventful E3.
Yeah, it's going to be up to a lot of third parties, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for Last of Us 2. I want to see more of that, but other than that, but like if you're digging Last of Us 2, you already own a PS4, so it's not going to improve sales, Nobody's holding out for that.
Right. Yeah, at the pace they're going with The Last of Us 2, I very much see that being a Last of Us situation where it's the swan song, and then it also gets ported immediately. It'll be like Uber Ultra 4K Double Definitive HD Edition that gets ported like
I hope we never go through that again. That porting everything over to the next one. Oh.
Yeah. We're still going through it. Look at the Switch.
Yeah.
They're not even the HD versions. They're just here's the game plus all the DLC versions. It's not any better.
Yeah.
Did you like Mario Kart? Yeah. Did you like driving on your own? Yeah. Well, too bad. It does this for you now. Deluxe edition. Yeah. I don't know. I think we're like in a weird place too, where like the industry is kind of like, what is mainstream gaming, right? I mean, we've seen in the last 6 months PUBG come to dominance and then still maintain a huge market share, but Fortnite overtake it. I mean, I think a lot of major AAA developers and publishers and studios, and I think they're all just wondering, like, what do we do with this now? I feel like... Yeah, go ahead.
How do you gamble like that? Like you spend how many years and how many millions of dollars on a game for it to be taken away that quickly too, Right. To be on to the next thing or not popular or...
Yeah, so we're like at this weird spectrum where it's like indie devs and free to play are market leaders at this point. And then you got everybody else who's like, how many millions did we sink into this? Like,
yeah.
How much did you give Kojima? Well, like 800 billion, but there's a baby and it's inside a tube. Like, okay, it's fine. We'll do it.
Still gonna play it.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna play it. I don't know. I think everybody's kind of just. I think the industry's in a like, we're a couple years from the new console gen. It's like, what do gamers want to buy from us at this point? And like, what do we just a perfect example is like, that Lawbreakers and that whole studio boss key. It's like you can so easily crumble, even though you're a talented group of individuals because you overreached on an IP.
Yeah.
So. I think this is going to be one of the lamest E3s we'll have seen, to be honest.
No surprises, that's for sure. It seems like.
You think Sony will try to get some of their information out if they're doing the name change stuff?
Maybe.
Because it was all just kind of a leaked like article type thing that was mentioned before.
Hopefully.
I don't know.
You know what I'd love to see Sony do, but I don't think will happen, is I would love it, because I know they're lowering the price of the PlayStation VR to $199 over E3. I would love to see them come out and saying, like, guess what? This is a permanent reduction. We are still in on VR. Here's the awesome experiences we already have, and here's what you can expect the first half of 2019 and holiday of 18. Because I think people are ready. The market is saturated enough with PS4s. The PlayStation VR is cheap enough. There are enough worthwhile titles. I would love to see them just, for once, go out there and own the goddamn thing and act like it existed and sell us some games for it because they can do it.
Yeah, it would be the first time. Yeah, it would be the first time that Sony actually commits to one of their accessories. That's what it would show me,
Right.
All the other stuff that they do, they own it for a little bit and then they drop it, That's kind of Vita included. So it would say a lot if they were out there on their stage doing it some more, for the third year in a row, basically. So yeah, that would probably sell some VR stuff when people are like, okay, they're serious about this. They got the games coming. They're already there, actually. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think I think it's at a good point for them to do it. I'm more than a casual gamer, but like I'm at the point where I'm like, I would like a PlayStation VR just because I already have the investment. I've experienced it. It's cool, Why not push it some more? Because that's the one thing too, is they've completely failed to have like an in-store kiosk, right? Like,
yeah.
Nobody does that anymore. The kiosk is dead, but I don't know.
You got to sell the experience for sure.
Right, and it is done right, a good experience. There are several games that don't require a whole lot of tuning. You can just jump like Drunken Bar Fight, put that in every Best Buy. You sell a million of them damn VR. It's the best.
Except you have a lot of lawsuits because you're punching guys that are just walking by.
Hate crime up at Best Buy. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it will be a boring E3, but it's E3 nonetheless. It's hard not to be kind of excited.
Yep. Yeah, so some of the stuff, a lot of it has already come out already, but I found it kind of strange that they pretty much took all their Pokemon news and put it out there already. And that's like one of their premier franchises, and then to be like, well, there wasn't much Nintendo branded stuff at that one either.
Right.
And Pokemon is a weird, situation where another company kind of owns it along with Nintendo, but still it's kind of weird that they did this ahead of time like that. But if you aren't aware, they announced basically a mobile game that's already out on Switch. You've been playing it. I have not. So
played it briefly, yeah. The game is putting it maybe a little beyond what it actually is. It's a
lot of timers and energy and stuff like that, or not?
So there is timers, and like I haven't really ran into it. But basically, what you do is like you load into like this, I don't know, like cubivore version of Pokemon where everything is like weirdly cube shaped. You pick a Pokemon, and then you assemble a team later. But basically, you pick a Pokemon. Said Pokemon, when you launch the area you're going into, just naturally runs towards the nearest enemy and attacks them. And then on a cooldown timer, you can press 1 or 2 attack buttons to sort of play the game, but it would play on its own anyway.
That's sure.
It's almost not a game. to be quite honest. I mean, that you can upgrade them to make them evolve faster. You can like put in a stone, so if you like whatever version of what Pokemon, you can keep them from evolving. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I've thrown it on and just like been watching TV, and I don't know. It's free, I guess, so I can't really complain. And I don't really like Pokemon, so I don't really care about this game, but I have played it, and it's a thing that's on the Switch that has Pokemon in the title.
Yeah.
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 It's kind of like watching the lawn mow the game, or watching the lawn grow, not mow. Mowing the lawn would be way better than this game. But
wow. You're really selling it.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
So it's like actually watching somebody mow.
Yeah, kinda. With the occasional like press the button, like use the weed eater. Like I don't know. It's kind of
there you go. That's an upgrade. But their second, they announced 2 other games. One of them coming to Switch this year is Let's Go, which is kind of real Pokemon game, but with also Pokemon Go aspects in it. And I don't know, they were kind of being cagey about like how far it goes into like what you would expect the real franchise to be.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm going to be pessimistic and think it's probably kind of like all the other console games where it's like kind of Pokemon, but it's not the real thing, you know?
Yeah. I think like in the way they've pitched it and the way they've stated it is like this is a half step, not even a half step, but it's like it's a gateway to drive all the Pokemon Go kids and fans or casuals into a Nintendo Switch and ease them into what will then be like an actual Pokemon game, which comes out in the following year. And you can import, right? Like you can import your Pokemon Go Pokemon and shit into Let's Go.
That's what it says. I don't know if they said into the park, so I don't know if that's just like a Chow Garden type thing. From
I was going to say, it sounds like.
But who knows? But I'm wondering like that the main one next year, if it doesn't look as nice graphically as this one does, like are they gonna go back to like just a moderately upgraded looking 3DS game next year? Or is this gonna be full thing?
I could see them with their one next year not being like the full revision of the assets, and I could see the 1 or the 2 launching following that. Because that's kind of what they've done, right? Is they build an engine, they stick with it for like a decade, and then they'll upgrade. And because they really haven't, like those new 3D assets from the 3DS have only been used in 2 iterations? 4 games, 2 iterations. Is that right?
I've heard they've made they've made those models pretty high res.
Okay.
So they would port over, but
sure.
Yeah, I mean that's been the dream since 1990 whatever.
Right.
That there would be a true console Pokemon game, and they've never made one. So like
I think they could pull it off with the same graphical assets, just like in high res, like you said, if they also figure out a way to incorporate actual online gameplay as far as like random encounters with real people throughout the world of Pokemon, or at least through various stadiums.
Yeah.
I think they need to figure. The thing is like it's hard to even say that with a straight face because like Nintendo has never figured out online for anything.
No.
But I think that's what like an almost pseudo MMO, or even if you could do like groups, right? Like what if you could buddy up with like 2 of your buddies and just go like catching Pokemon out in the woods? I mean, that would be enough to get fans excited.
Yeah, and that's what the Let's Go version does. It has co-op in it.
Right, it does, yeah.
So it might be a good introduction for kids, I think, to, for parents to bring their kids into the thing, which is pretty devious, I think, but
but then again, it's falling in line with like you can do that, but now you have to pay $9.99 or $29. Is it $29 or whatever it is a year? Because it will launch by the time the online service is out.
Oh,
so
yeah,
kids will need a credit card on file from mom and dad to do this, right?
Good luck, kid.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Didn't think about that.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, it's good news for the Switch. I I've never been a Pokemon guy. I'm not going to be. I'm glad people are excited about this. I mean, to me, it didn't resound in any way, I guess. I didn't even play Pokemon Go, so. But this free thing.
You were that one guy.
The funny thing is like, I was the one who was like all excited about it. I'm like, it's free, I'm going to download it. And then I'm like, it uses data. Screw that.
You didn't have room on your phone.
That's right, I had the 4S with like the 0.2 parts of storage.
Yeah, so I guess I've been playing quite a bit of State of Decay 2. Getting into that some. It's pretty fun with, especially now that you can have co-op and stuff. They got the tether on it though, which kind of sucks.
Oh, really? Like
pretty good. Yeah,
that sucks.
Which it actually has a pretty good distance though on it, so it's not. Well, Arc had a pretty good distance too, but that map was just so big and like so much you could do on there, so that's where that flawed in my opinion. But on here, like you got so much stuff within a small radius anyways, so the tether doesn't really bother you. The only thing would be like if you're driving, one person's driving a vehicle back to the base and the other one's somewhere else, like that doesn't work.
So does it nice teleport to a host? Is that what it is?
It just kind of drags the other person.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of nice because we were playing the one day and the one guy got stuck in a rock and like he was literally just stuck bouncing, not able to move at all. So I just kept walking until I got to the tether point and pulled him, and drug him through it.
You're really selling this as a quality experience.
It's very few between on bugs now. Like this was back closer to when it launched. And they had a huge update. It was like almost 20 gigs.
Oof.
And that's about what the size the game was. So, I'm sure that overrode quite a bit and stuff, so it's not a 40 gig game right now, but it fixed a lot of issues that I was seeing. So, it's pretty good right now. Enjoying it quite a bit. It's kind of odd, though. Like, you can have your vehicle explode, and then just go up to it and repair it and get it back running.
Makes sense.
Like, I was pretty devastated when my van blew up, and it's an 8-slot van. And like I'd never seen one that big, so I was like, took it right away. This is gonna be interesting. God damn it!
We don't even need to say anything. Like you set that up. Yeah, that was good.
Anyways,
let's hear more about this van, please.
What's that?
So let's hear more about this van, please, and how big it is.
Funny. Anyways, so I just repaired it and was able to drive it home. Kind of nice.
Yes.
New game.
Yeah. I might have to hop in there. I need a new game now because I somehow beat a huge RPG in 2 weeks.
Did you really finish it?
Yeah, it's
I seen you on
freak. Wow.
It was.
Is it like a 120-hour RPG?
I think the final thing was 100 hours, but Jesus. I will say, in my defense, a lot of it is idle. So like you build a town, it's got like almost like a Farmville aspect to it, where like you have like collecting money over time, and then you have to cash out your money every so often. So I would leave it on for like 2 hours, come back to it, like take my coins out, and then come back 2 hours. So, the funnest of all games, something like that. But, but yeah, that was, I think every once in a while, probably like once every 2 years, I get in a position where I just like, I don't know, take too much time and way too unhealthy. I think.
I will say, I know there was like more than 1 or 2 nights where I woke up on the couch at like 1, went to turn my PS4 off, and you were still on my friends list active in that game, like during the middle of the week. So I kind of figured you were getting into it.
I'm not going to say either if I was playing it or if I was just idle there.
Just farming.
I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to leave it. That way I can
asleep with the controller in your hand.
Yeah.
You're still playing, technically.
Yeah. But it's a good game. Awesome game.
It's as good as the first one. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I think I think I like this one even more, which is kind of strange because the first one was a little bit more tactical, kind of like turn-based almost, where this one is a lot more action. But overall, yeah, I think I liked it more.
Nice. I know I've said in the last couple of podcasts I haven't been gaming much lately, and it still kind of holds true, although man, did I accomplish a lot for not gaming much in the last 2 weeks since we recorded. We'll kick off with Kirby. Whatever Kirby game, Star Allies, is it the Switch one? So my kids had gotten I'd played with them on and off, but I kind of let them play. They had gotten all the way through the game for the most part, with some help from all of us. And we sat down one night, and I found out that the fourth world is actually the last world, which seems weird because you'd feel like you'd be halfway through this game. So I was like, well, knowing that, I know that they're at the end boss in the fourth world. So I sat down with my kids, and we fired it up. And we started out the end boss. And this game, if you played any Kirby game, they're super cutesy, super easy. And this game is not challenging, I would say, really at all throughout the campaign. You get to this end boss, and it is like some other fucking monster. It's this 45-minute ordeal that is multi-staged and goes from closed room boss battle segments to open 3D world on rails shooters to back and forth. It is unbelievable. Wow. It comes out of nowhere. It's completely epic for a Kirby game. Totally unnecessary, especially if you're my kids who are 4 and 6 and got there and would have no way to fucking do this on their own. But I will say, it was so out of left field and so cool. And then the way the shooting segment works is Kirby is kind of the lead guy, so everybody else hops on behind him while Kirby. Essentially, they give everybody, imagine Space Harrier if everybody had a fire button, right? So, you're just, one person's controlling, but everybody's shooting. So, everybody participates in this, final boss segment, and there's, I kicked his ass through this stage, now we're sucked inside of his head, and we gotta fight his brain, and then kicked out, shoot him again, blow his arms off, now we gotta go and fight his heart. It is just so bonkers, and it was, so epic, and, so rewarding to play with my kids. They got so into this game. And just beating it. It was awesome. It kind of made up for the fact that this game is overall incredibly short. Still a ton of fun with a family and some kids, but I had no idea that I was going to get this out of this game. It was kind of nuts. So check it out.
Yeah, that's good to hear because we kind of dropped it. We were maybe the second thing in and we just, I don't know. My son just kind of moved on to some other thing, so I think we need to go back there and because I've beat every Kirby game for quite a while, where this one, I just kind of dropped it.
Yeah, me too. I've beaten my fair share, but I've never seen anything quite like this. It's worth it, I'll tell you that much. And then on top of that, I picked up some recent Switch releases. Anybody played Bloodstained Curse of the Moon yet?
No, I need to.
Oh my god, it is probably the best $10 I've spent on an indie game. And I don't know how long. It is absolutely 8-bit Castlevania, but it's so much better. It's so fucking good. They completely ripped the game off. Hearts don't replenish your secondary weapon; they replenish your health. And then potion gives you health instead of whatever. But anyway, it's the same thing. There's not wall meat. There's wall hearts. There's platforms. There's bosses. It's the same music. The art style. To a T, it reminds me so much of Castlevania 3. It's unbelievable. And then you have 4 characters.
Just so Castlevania 3, yeah.
Yeah, you have multi-tiered exploration and transformations, and it's not a difficult game, and it's not that it's not hard or not challenging or that it doesn't abide by the same rules as Castlevania. It's just that they fixed the one glaring problem with Castlevania, which is knockback. With no knockback, Castlevania is a breeze for an experienced gamer and platformer. Because there's one character you get a Dracula guy. I forget what his name that his like secondary ability is to turn into a bat and fly. If he's hit, well, in bat mode, he does drop and like transforms and falls. But other than that, like you really can't F up. Like if you time your jumps right, you time your attacks right. Oh my, it's so good. It's like 2 to 3 hours. You'll be through it on basic mode. At least that's what it was for me. But the boss battles are just epic because like it goes through in like the 8-bit styling of all these Castlevania games, so it looks and feels just like what you're used to. But then they really ramp it up as far as on screen like sprite sizes and like movement and stuff. I mean, it all looks like it would fit in the context of the NES, but it obviously goes far beyond what they could do as far as boss battles and
Sure.
I don't know. Like, if you have not played this game, just buy it and sit down, like, find a night, blow through it. There's no way you can't just have a smile on your face playing this thing the whole time. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I totally plan on it.
So good.
I can't believe, like even, like, the sprite is the same color as, like, Simon. Like, do they think Konami's so far out of the game now that, out of games now that they're just, like, not even paying attention? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like just an incomprehensible, like garbled mess. Like the first character you get, it's like, what is this blob? When it's like, yeah, it's perfectly Castlevania.
Yeah, huh.
So good. And they fixed. I think another issue with a lot of Castlevania games, I think it gets better as you get to like the later entries, is like the stairs up and down. Much more forgiving this time around with like just being near a stairwell and holding up or down to walk up and down. Yeah,
sure.
But I mean, the same enemies are there. Like they have their Medusa enemy. They have, I mean, it's just a lift, but it's an
but if you don't have knockback,
yeah, it's a joy to play, and the boss battles are freaking great. It's 8 levels long, I think.
Nice.
And yeah, buy it. It's good stuff. And then I also bought Ikaruga, the Switch port. I've played that before. It is good. I immediately switched to Tate mode and played like an elitist on that. And yeah, it's great. I've played through it a couple times now. I mean, it's one of those games that like if you have it set to unlimited continues, like you can blow through it quickly. But if you're not good, you're not going to get good ratings or good scores. And like in fact, in that game, the way it's set up is that you can actually not defeat bosses. Like if you're not efficient enough, like you just don't really take them out or get a bonus. And I don't know. It's great though. I was super happy about that. I will say though, I bought that and Bloodstained the first day, and like Bloodstained is just like completely won me over as like this amazing game that I can't wait to go back and play through again. And Ikaruga, like I've played it before. It's still fun. I'm happy to have it, but kind of gets buried under Bloodstained.
Yeah. I love Ikaruga, and I totally intend to purchase that. But that's one of those that, like, once you get farther into the game, like, it gets so overwhelming, you're like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I'm just instantly dying. Like, I can't even, like, attempt to be playing the game at that point, you know? I'm just kind of, like, running through lives like crazy.
Yeah, it's the kind of shooter where, like, I think most shooters you get, like, on a tear, and, like, you can find that zen moment. Like, I cannot find zen in Ikaruga. I just find pain. It's kind of how that works. Really cool concept, though. So, like, for anyone who hasn't played it, I guess, like, you are a ship that has, like, 2 different forms, a light and a dark. Switching between the forms, like, if I am white, I'm the light form, I can absorb white bullets. It energizes my ship, and I don't take damage. And then I can switch over to the dark form, absorb the, you know. So you have to balance this because like everything comes out at you on the screen, shooting one or the other energy. And in most cases, you've got hundreds of shots of both on screen. So it's like this weird dance. Like there's just so much to manage. Like it's already hard enough in a shooter to like kind of like partially shut your brain off to keep shooting and avoid things as they're coming through your peripheral. But to keep doing that and then also have to keep track of a color, that's rough.
Yeah.
But so fun.
If I remember right, though, like you have to, sometimes like you have to be the right color and in the right spot. Otherwise you're just screwed.
Yes.
Like, so the next time around you have to be like, okay, you have to be red here, you know?
Yep.
Otherwise the blue just screws you over, you know?
Yep. Yeah. In fact, by the second stage, there's like some very specific use cases that like you're like, oh, I get this now. So,
Yep.
cool game though. I'm happy to have it ported. Maybe we'll see. I mean, the Switch has done really good with getting shoot 'em up ports, so maybe we'll get a sequel. This Treasure's still active. Just saying.
There's like 3 people somewhere there.
Yeah. There's at least 10.
Yeah. Mischief Makers 2.
Could happen. I own that. I have yet to play it. I was like so excited to pick that up, and I played like 5 minutes of it. And I was like, "This is
weird.
This is really friggin' weird. Like this is not what I wanted. Why are these blocks smiling at me? I don't understand." You guys been playing anything else?
I didn't really play it, but I did see Trials Fusion was free on PlayStation this month. I plan to download that and play that again. I had played it on Xbox quite a bit, but I didn't go through and actually beat every level, which is going to be tough anyways, but I haven't really played it on my Xbox in a long time, so I figured I'd get it on PlayStation and play through it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. That's like a nice follow-up too, since we just got Trackmania on the PlayStation. It's like both of those games are just fun to sit down and like sink some time into.
Yeah.
Was it Trackmania you said?
Yeah.
That was free.
Was that the one that was free on Xbox?
I think it was free on... It was free on Xbox, and it was free on PlayStation last month. Or the month before.
Yeah, I grabbed that one too.
It's essentially the same thing, just with cars and less jumps. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, not so much controls. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. The Fusion one is where I kind of jumped off. Like, Evolution was my favorite, for sure.
Yeah, Fusion is where it was like, this is not progressing. Like, it was diminishing returns at that point.
Like,
I know that's the one I spent... Yeah, I know that's the one I spent the least amount of time on. Because, like, I made... Like, I just... Oh my god, those first few. You'd beat every stage, and then I would go back and just make it a mission to get, like, the highest rating on everything, and...
Yeah.
I think Trials HD, was it? The one that I played the most?
That first one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I think, though, added multiplayer Fusion, or was that the one before
There's the one before it had multiplayer, yep.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah. I don't know, it just doesn't have, like, at least with HD, like, it was all about your friends and beating their ghost, right? Like, that's all it was. Whereas, like, by the time it got to Fusion, like, nobody cared. Like, you played it once, like, I beat it, and that was it. Like, you didn't care if you were beating your friends or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it just kind of worn thin. But it's still, a good game to... It's a good arcade racing experience. Or I don't even know if it's racing. It's just a good arcade experience.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The Blood Dragon thing, though, that's cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Did a little bit of that with you.
Yeah.
Blood Dragon's what Andy calls his hog.
Only certain times of the month.
Yes, Andy. Nice. Woo. So I was just going to also bring up, too, I know I talked about this way back when the first one came out, but The Toys That Made Us. Did either one of you go back and watch this documentary series on Netflix?
No, I marked it on my list thing on Netflix, but...
Yeah. So season 2 or part 2 or whatever came out a week ago or so. It was last week, I think. There was 4 more episodes, which I just immediately binge watched. So there was Star Trek toys, Transformers, Hello Kitty, and Legos. I don't know that I think material-wise, none of those really like resonated with me as much as the other ones. Some of the other toys. The Lego thing was cool. The Hello Kitty I gave no shits about. Which actually, although I didn't care about that at all, was far more interesting than... It's way... Like, I did not realize the history behind that whatsoever. So it's totally worth watching that one. I think the biggest disappointment for me was the Lego one, because like they did a good job of like talking about the history of Lego and the company and the origins, but they kind of like... When they got to the modern era, they glossed over almost entirely the success they've had on like digital fronts as far as movies, games the last 10 years. I mean, they touched on how Bionicle got video games, but Bionicle was before they even hit their stride with licensing that stuff. And I mean, I kind of get that the point was behind the toy, not the, but I mean, that is such a huge aspect of what Lego is now, especially like with dimensions and stuff. Not that was a success, that I was like, how do you just kind of really not talk about the fact that that's been a huge part of pop culture for 10 years now?
Yeah, it would be like talking about He-Man without the show, you know?
Right. Yeah. So it was kind of weird, but still a great documentary series. If you guys, I mean, obviously you haven't watched it, I highly recommend going in there and checking it out. It was cool. I was like very anxious to see those ones, and they didn't disappoint too badly. I was pretty pleased. I'm hoping they come back. I would really love to see them do another run, another season or two, and I really want Micro Machines. I really want to see one on Micro Machines. I was like such a fan of those as a kid. Seems like the perfect material, but who knows?
They have the guy narrate it.
Right.
The whole documentary. It does it in 8 minutes.
Yeah, you have to play it on like half speed, and then it's like a full-length episode. Is that guy still alive?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Seems like he would have like heart issues if you could talk
that's
that
true. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good watch for anyone out there who hasn't seen it. I highly recommend The Toys That Made Us. All 8 episodes they're worthwhile. Especially if you're into the dorky kind of stuff that we talk about on this podcast, it'll be right up your alley. And I don't want to like put us down, but it might be better produced than our podcast. I hate to say it. I mean, our YouTube content is top tier, but The Toys That Made Us might have an edge.
That's only because Netflix like throws them money. Like
That's
if we
true.
got Netflix money, we could do better.
You should work on that angle. I mean, they're giving Adam Sandler money.
Or if they quit getting flagged.
It's true. Damn you, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I have it marked to watch, so I'll definitely check it out. I got into watching that 13 Reasons Why. I had put it off for the longest time because, like, nope, not going to watch it. And finally I decided to watch it. It's that one about that girl that committed suicide and did 13 tapes or whatever.
This is like a drama, or?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
It's off a book.
Okay.
And then they made it into a Netflix series.
It was your heavy flow cycle time of the month, so you're like, I'm just going to curl up and watch this. I've binge watched Sex and the City, the complete series 3 times. Let's move on to 13 Reasons.
I've never seen that, actually.
I have, so I can't talk. And both movies.
Oh wow.
My wife likes it.
Yeah, my wife does too, but I still don't watch it. Or she did. I don't know if it's... Is it still even going?
No, it's been done for 10 years at least.
Fair enough.
So it's a pretty good show. You recommend it? You threw it, or?
It's alright, I guess. I like documentaries a lot.
Yeah.
And just stuff in general like that. So I'll watch pretty much anything in that line. This one is... I don't know, it's a little bit more serious. That I guess you could take it as serious, I suppose. It probably should be. So it's alright. It's worth checking out, I guess, if you like documentary style shows.
Sure.
It's really long though, because it's 13 episodes, and they're in first season, and it's like an hour per episode.
Wow.
And then the second season has, I think it's 13 episodes as well, and there's another hour apiece each. So,
Jeez.
like, I feel like I haven't done anything the past, 2 weeks? Trying to watch that. But
we've been trying to keep up with Westworld, and I feel like I'm just an idiot that can't follow along to that show at all. And I don't know if they're trying to make people feel that way or not. But most of that stuff is so far over my head, like I don't even know what these characters are thinking, like what they're doing, show has gotten very weird.
It's one of those ones I'd like to watch. Just without HBO, I haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
We just finished up the final short series, I guess, short season of New Girl. They greenlit that for another final season to kind of like wrap, because they weren't sure they were going to renew it. They came back and they kind of wrapped it up. But it was weird because it's like one of those leaps in time that sitcoms do occasionally, where they're like, 3 years in the future, here's where we're at. And then they don't really, like, they kind of rush it. I think it was like 8 episodes. Like, it wasn't a full season run. And then they just kind of fast forward the very last season, or the last episode too, for like the last like 2 minutes. I'm guessing, let's say they jumped another 5 years in the future for like an outro sequence, but at least they ended it, because like it was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with New Girl, but that is like, outside of the Goldbergs, I would say that's like one of the best sitcoms in the last, like, I don't know, 6-7 years. It's great. Super funny.
Yeah, my wife watches it sometimes. But
good stuff.
Yeah.
It's about a new girl. And at least they had the like common sense to like end it when they should have. They aren't Sunny in Philadelphia-ing it. So.
Yeah.
Or
it'll go on forever.
The Simpsoning it. Hey, we made a funny show. You know what would be great? Let's do it forever until people hate it. Okay.
Yeah. I can't believe some of those are still, like The Simpsons, I can't believe anybody watches it yet.
I think the only show that has pulled it off, arguably successfully, and it's animated, so they get like a buy, is South Park. Like, South Park is, for the most part, remained funny over the last 20 years that it's been on TV.
Yeah.
The Simpsons is not at all.
I wouldn't know. I haven't watched it in
Yeah,
a long time.
I've watched like 2 episodes in the last 2 years, but like they were still good.
Yeah.
I've only seen 2 episodes of South Park.
Really?
Yep.
I was like addicted to that for a while.
The World of Warcraft one, and then there's another one. I don't remember what the other one was.
Please tell me it was Scott Tenorman Must Die.
No, oh, it's the cancer money.
That one's pretty good. I think if you're gonna watch one episode ever, other than the World of Warcraft one, if you're a gamer, it should be Scott Tenorman Must Die. I feel like that is the best episode.
Atari on.
It's a refreshing breath of air to have the Atari brand come back to gaming.
Okay, on to the Failbag, where we answer 20-year-old questions as if they were addressed to us, so we can help these guys out. Our first question here is from GamePro from March 1996. Vic is asking a very pertinent question to our podcast that we've done so far. Since Time Warner Interactive is making Primal Rage for virtually every other system, will
I reached up to hit the mute button, then farted, but it didn't mute. So, to be fair, I wasn't trying to like interrupt the podcast.
I feel like your timing was perfect, though.
Yeah.
Primal Rage for every other system. Minus
Okay.
parts.
Will they be making it for the Ultra 64? Which
No.
is the N64.
What did that come out on?
Oh man, it was all
Jaguar.
16-bit.
Was the Jaguar CD? I think it maybe.
I think
did.
so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Got on Game Gear.
Genesis, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, as we found out.
Yeah.
I feel like that was it though. Like it all petered out in like that 1 to 2 year span. Sadly, it does not make it to the Ultra 64.
I kind of need to see.
Didn't Nintendo also maybe not even Nintendo, but so much everyone that was making hardware in that era kind of shy away from doing 2D games, which this was. I mean, it didn't really have 3D rendered sprites, even on the arcade version. It was just...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it did come out for PlayStation and Saturn.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Holy crap, I had no idea.
So, I guess there would have been precedent for it to come out on 64. I'm guessing it was a cart, how much the cart cost.
Right. I'm surprised you don't own a dev version of this, being you're the premier Primal Rage collector in North America.
No, not even close. I have played it on the Amiga, though.
Really?
At MGC, they had it.
Oh, nice.
Because what else are you going to run on there? Not a good game, right?
No, why would you do that? So the answer is no. Luckily for all Ultra 64 owners.
Yes, they saved.
Primal Rage did not get a port.
They saved us.
Although weirdly, didn't it get Mortal Kombat Gold?
4, I think.
4.
Right?
Yeah.
You got
but also
4 and the Sub-Zero one, which was a very bad one too.
Yeah. Actually, maybe trade Sub-Zero out for Primal Rage. And
yeah, that's probably better. It's a better choice. Okay. Anthony from Oxnard, California is asking, I think your coverage of systems and game reviews puts the others to shame. As the proud owner of a Super Graphics, I would like to know why you don't cover this awesome machine. Is it because of the lack of software? Are there more games coming? Please help.
Well,
I added that last part because you're going to need help for.
I'd say the fact that this is an American-based video game magazine covering a console that never left Japan is probably part of it.
That's probably the number one reason for sure.
Also, number 2, it got 5 games. Is that right? 6 at most.
6, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say one of the coolest looking pieces of hardware I've ever seen, but utterly pointless.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of plastic there that does nothing on that thing.
But it is the coolest looking version of the Turbo graphics you can get that also plays 5 exclusive games. So
yeah. I mean, it is the ultimate one, right? I guess Turbo Duo would maybe be better, but...
I'd drop the CD just to have the cool, plastic molded bolts and, engine head things that are just such a bizarre design. So cool.
Yeah, it does look like an intake manifold, kind of.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a mechanic's dream console. So sadly, I don't think you're going to be hearing much coverage of this system anywhere, let alone in the magazine. Sorry.
Yeah. You're not going to get coverage in games.
Yeah.
Sadly. That would have been cool if it came over, but yeah.
It would have been cool if the Turbo Graphics got a fair shake in the US. Yeah. Had it launched when it should have and not had the weirdly stupid design, that could have been the killer console.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about how these magazines were covering Turbo Graphics, that's a whole nother thing because I don't think they gave them
You're right. It was pretty sad.
It sure seemed I used to get these periodically, when we were in the mall or something, I'd go to the bookstore and get one of these. And yeah, I never knew Turbo Graphics,
Yeah, I had no idea.
They weren't in there. This dude with an email says, or he's asking, have you ever been playing a game and get that unfresh feeling? Do they have a cream for that?
I feel like we need more information. Where's the
No,
unfresh feeling originating from?
No, you know, like all those commercials, like the ladies' commercials are like, you just have that unfresh feeling.
I think the answer is no, they don't have a cream. Also, stop sending us emails.
Yeah. I have a cream and I will sell it to you. It will fix it.
It's free. The markup is unreal. Your profit.
I don't know if it's going to fix the feeling fresh or not, but... Jose from Puerto Rico. He says, I'm an 11-year-old and I'm an expert in video games. I'm very glad that Virtua Fighter came out for the 32X, but Sega's premier product this season is Virtua Fighter 2. Will that also come out for 32X, or is Sega trying to get people to buy a Saturn? I would say people are trying. I think Sega's trying to get you to buy a Saturn.
I would say Sega doesn't know what the hell they're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, you just bought a new one every year at that point. There's a new system every year, so you just bought that. But
Sega of America wants you to buy the 32X. Sega of Japan says, get that damn Saturn. But you live in Puerto Rico, aren't you still running off of like the Master System at that point? Isn't it like those countries down there that they still like produce the Master System through like 2015?
Like Brazil was like a big one for that.
Okay, yes.
Because they had like tariffs on like electronics that were built in Brazil compared to like outside of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But sadly, I don't think you're going to get Virtua Fighter 2 on the 32X. Or not sadly. Probably. You're welcome. It didn't come to the 32X.
No, buy a Saturn. Actually, don't buy it right away. Wait for it. You probably get it free.
Actually, don't do that either. Just get a PlayStation.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because this one was actually answered by a Sega customer service.
Oh.
Yeah. They said the problem isn't with getting Virtua Fighter 2 for 32X. The problem is the architecture of the 32X. It cannot handle the processing speed required to render the polygons for Virtua Fighter 2. We always release arcade titles for the Genesis and the 32X if the hardware can support it.
That's bullshit, because they released Virtua Fighter for the Genesis and it was god-awful.
Yeah.
It can't support it.
Shouldn't have been on there. Yeah.
No! Absolutely. Should not have happened. So it's a very nice way of covering up the fact that they're letting the 32X die.
Yeah. But man, they dogged their system pretty hard there. There was no ifs, and or but around
right, because if you're writing in about
sucks.
the 32X, it was released and dead in a year. So like this thing was brand new and already they're like, no, you're not going to get it because the 32X that you just bought, it kind of sucks. Like, we're sorry. Have a good day, Sega.
Is Primal Rage coming out for the Atari box or the VCS?
Hopefully. But the Atari 2600 version.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. So, Justin, you want to take us out?
Yeah. So you can find everything Weekend Rental at the website. It's going to be www.weekendpodcast.com. You'll find links to our Facebook, Twitter, our YouTube. And as Ryan had stated earlier, feel free to send us any emails, questions, comments, concerns. Yeah, you can send naked pictures too. And that's going to be weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play. And as always, be kind, rewind. Bananas.
Bananas.
Oh, God, that fucking jalapeno burger.